Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct tonight from Black Facts Headquarters Central with another installment of Doc Ock at noon and 9. Now, from the very beginning, I informed everyone that what we were going to do here on the Tubular Black Facts channel was going to be like putting a car together while you're inside of it, driving it down the road. So we're literally trying to bolt the wheels on while we're driving the car down the road. Not a very easy task to do, mind you. So that's what I've been feeling like with this segment we're doing on Marcus Garvey, that it's been very difficult, especially for the children's portion. So bear with me. I'm doing the best I can, just trying to kind of muddle on through here. But we're going to bring you what we're going to do now. We've read his story out of the book that we had here. We had the book over here, Marcus Garvey, Black Nationalist Leader, that we read. We read that book. So you have a decent idea. You should have a decent idea now of his story. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about some of the other people that were important to the story who we haven't talked about before, people that you may or may not know. Probably don't know more than do know. But before we do that, we always got to do the needful, not the pleadful, and have you go ahead and do a couple things for us. Number one, if you're watching on Facebook, give us a like. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. After you've done both of those things, then, or one or the other, then go ahead and spread the word far and wide about what we're doing here to put some more glide in your stride, a dip in your hip, some pride in your pocket, and a whole new gait to your stride. I know I used stride twice that time, but that's all right because it still did rhyme. Meanwhile, let's see what we got for you tonight. We're going to read another saying of Marcus Garvey, and then we'll begin reading some about one of these other leaders, these other prominent individuals that we were talking about just a minute ago. So let's see what else we've got here in the way of a saying. I had a good one I was thinking of. I didn't mark where it was at, though. So let's see if I can see it real quick. Whew, wow. Okay, that was a deep one there. That's not the one I'm looking for. Let's see. Okay, here we go here. This is a good one here. This will go along with what we're saying, although somewhat indirectly. I am not opposed to the white race, as charged by my enemies. I have no time to hate anyone. All my time is devoted to the upbuilding and development of the Negro race. All my time is devoted to the upbuilding and development of the Negro race. Now, at our noontime presentation, we dealt with that whole idea of the word Negro. What is it, and who is a Negro, and what is a Negro? We dealt with that. But in this instance, we're going to be dealing with some of these other prominent individuals. And let's see who we've got up first tonight. So the whole point here is this, that funnily enough, as much as Garvey loved black people, as much as he wanted to unite black people, there was a lot of pushback, not only from some white people, but even more so from black people. I think he had more pushback from black people than he ever got from any white people. And so when he talks about his enemies, a lot of times he's talking about other black folks. So let's see who some of these other people are, get an idea of who they are, who they might have been, and why, and maybe even be able to figure out why they might have been so opposed to Garvey. So let's see here. Where is it at? Oh, you know what? I did mark those pages. Here we go. Here. So the first one, this is a short one. And so I may just have, yeah, probably got just enough time to read this one. Now I might have a little extra time too. We'll see how much time this takes. This one, this story here is about A. Philip Randolph. And I do not have any pictures of him right off the bat, but I'm going to go ahead and put you in to the slideshow, get you started with the slides, because we're talking about Garvey's ghost. After Garvey left, these other people were still around, plying their trade, their stock and trade. And some of their acolytes, some of their proteges are still with us today, plying the very same trade. So first and foremost, we're going to mention A. Philip Randolph, who is known for creating the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters. He was also known, going the wrong way, he was also known for having organized the 1963, I believe it is, March on Washington. So he was one of the main organizers of the March on Washington and the founder of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters. A. Philip Randolph was the elder statesman of Negro labor leaders. For almost 40 years, he was in the thick of the fight for improved working conditions and higher wages for all laborers. He was particularly vigorous in his vocal opposition to racial discrimination within the labor movement. In 1925, Randolph organized the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters. So that was in the same time that Garvey was dealing with prison. A. Philip Randolph was organizing the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters. With the Pullman Car Porters as a foundation, A. Philip Randolph rose to the topmost hierarchy of the labor movement to become the only Negro vice president of the AFL-CIO. He is the founder and organizer of the Negro American Labor Council. During World War II, he was the prime mover in this. Wait a minute. What? During World War II, so that's talking about the 1940s, he was the prime mover in the celebrated March on Washington movement, which prodded the United States government into banning discrimination in the industries having government contracts. He was one of the most effective lobbyists for the establishment of a permanent Fair Employment Practices Committee. Okay, well that's interesting, because we only think of the March on Washington movement as being during the 60s, but clearly he was dealing with it in the 40s and then came back around and did it again in the 60s. The basic character of the man may be seen in the bitter struggle to organize porters and maids working on trains during the late 20s and early 30s. Railroad management fought Randolph and his union every step of the way. Nonetheless, Randolph never compromised his principles or the goals of the Brotherhood. The Union survived every onslaught of management and became a potent force in American labor generally. A native of Crescent City, Florida, A. Philip Randolph had no specific desire to develop into a spokesman for labor and the Negro. He fancied himself a writer, and with Chandler Owens, he edited a newspaper called The Messenger, an outspoken magazine of comment and opinion. He also wrote for Opportunity magazine, the journal of the Urban League. In addition to his writing, Randolph gained wide acclaim with his oratory. His speeches often reflected the influence of frequent readings of Shakespeare and other literary masters. Because of his vocal opposition to World War I, he was imprisoned. Upon his release, however, he promptly threw himself into the fight for the underdog. While the president of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, Randolph frequently shook the House of Labor with his thunderous demands that blacks be allowed a full share of the fruits of their work in the American economy. In 1960, he formed the American Negro Labor Council, in which nearly 100 black labor leaders pledged themselves to work for the reduction of prejudice and discrimination. The steering committee of the council, Randolph dominated the steering committee of the council until his retirement in 1966 at the age of 74 years old. A. Philip Randolph was one of the organizers and leaders of the famous 1963 March on Washington. So, interestingly enough, he was one of Garvey's main opponents. Another opponent of Garvey's was W.E.B. Du Bois. And the fight that they got into was vicious, to say the least. Even getting into various aspects of colorism, which colorism has to do with, you so black they can't see you at night. You got to open your mouth so they can see your teeth, so they can see you at night, because otherwise you just disappear. That's colorism, where you talk about something that somebody can't really do anything about, but you can use it as a way to beat them down, make them feel less than they really are, basically beat them into submission because of something that is a circumstance of birth and not anything that they themselves had anything to do with or have any control over. And so the fight between Du Bois and Garvey, it was absolutely, what's the word for it? Epic. It was an epic battle. I'll put it that way. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to cut out a little bit early tonight, and we're going to return to this tomorrow, because his story is quite a bit longer than A. Philip Randolph's. It might take me 2 nights to do his story, so that'll give us tomorrow night and the next night, and then we'll be able to end the week right there and go on to somebody else. So we're going to be bringing you more stories like this of other people that Garvey conflicted with because they had different views, or that possibly, which is a good possibility, they may have had some jealousy towards each other, particularly towards Garvey, because Garvey was getting a lot of newsprint, a lot of attention, and he was turning people out in the hundreds of thousands, the tens of thousands in the streets of various countries, not just the USA, all over the planet. But odd as it may seem, that only happened for about a couple years. It was 2 years, 1920, 1921. And then after that, then he had all these legal issues he was dealing with. And he ended up getting deported. And so he spent some time in jail. So he was a lot less visible after 1922. All right, so at any rate, let me go ahead and wrap up here. This is Doc Ock signing off. Doc Ock at noon and 9 signing off, hoping that you have a night that's really fine. But before we go, let me just say one thing to all you little children out there. You know what I'm going to say. take your little head and put it on your little pillow, on your little bed, and close those your eyes while you wait on that sun to rise. And when you feel those sunbeams beaming down on your eyes, you know that it's time for you to rise and shine, oh chill in the mind. Have a good day tomorrow and many more tomorrows after that. Don't beg, don't borrow, don't steal. Just be for real, and you'll be able to float your boat on an even keel. Absolutely. Meanwhile, for you adults out there, you know what I'd like you to do. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a like. If you're watching on YouTube, give us the old thumbs up. And then go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel right below. We're not asking for donations yet, but you can give donations at any time. We've got donation collection links at the bottom in the description areas of all of our live streams. And you can also, or you can find them in the notification bar if you're on your mobile phone on Facebook. So you can donate in numerous ways, including by going to our website, www.blakfacts.org. That's where you will find me. In the meanwhile, we're going to say peace out as we go into our extra and give a wave and a shout out to Solomon, Israel, and Angie Bryant over there. Peace at least, y'all.